So, I'm absolutely delighted to have with me a very revolutionary artist in many ways, I would describe her. And she's got a very good new content coming up on ZEE5 Global, and that is, of course, Crime Beat. So, Saba, thank you so much for joining me on Filme Shilmy. It's so good to actually be hosting an interview with you. I know we met in London when you were here for Minimum, so it was good to kindly, finally have this with you. So, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Anuj. I'm really happy we're doing this finally.
All right, look, Sabah, I think this is a very fascinating world for you to be a part of, right? Because this is amalgamating crime, it's amalgamating politics, it's amalgamating media and
Mhm.
journalism. And I think for you as an artist, how did it feel to be exposed to this world, albeit in a rather fictional setting?
Mm, I actually, that was one of the things that kind of helped me decide that I wanted to do this project because, I've done a bunch of work, but I've never really gone into firstly crime or a thriller, and this was the first for me. And so I was really delighted that someone could imagine me in a gritty kind of role, and the world of investigative journalism, I mean, is supremely like intriguing to me. It's um it's a world I'm not familiar with, and I think as actors we're hungry to kind of experience things that we'd otherwise not get to experience, right? Because you're kind of living other people's lives, through the roles that you play. And this kind of threw me right in the center of kind of the world of what it takes from when a crime happens and for a news to finally make it to the front page. The
Hmm.
journey is is actually pretty long and arduous. And we think, oh yeah, crime happened, next day there was a report. There's stringers involved, there are reporters involved, there's endless red tape, there's the cops, there's politics, then there's your own boss, then there are 10 people vying for the same story with different angles saying, no, my angle is better, put my story on the front page. So there's so much going on for that one story to make it. uh, you know I, and it's so much harder than I actually imagined it to be. So
Hmm.
I mean, it was great to kind of sink my teeth into this.
I think the OG like sort of rom-com fans or the those who kind of grew up mostly in the 2000s era and coming to age at that time will be very pleased with this because you're reuniting with Saqib
Yes.
after so many years.
Yes.
Only the OG people will remember Mujhse Friendship Karoge and
Yeah.
how that was that had its own sort of revolution at its time as well. And
Yeah.
it's interesting where I use that word coming of age because I feel if we look from then to now, I feel like you've definitely come into your own for sure.
Hey, hey, thanks.
Um, I can feel that sort of maturity that's definitely kicking in you as an artist.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it would be nice to actually maybe speak a bit about that dynamic that you and Saqib share because, I don't really like it when I always ask about co-stars because it's such a boring question. But I think
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've grown together in your journeys, it would be nice
Yes.
to see how that's evolved.
I think when you're that young and you're just about starting out, right? It was my second film, it was his first film. I think firstly, the world hasn't kind of gotten to you yet. You know, you're full of beans and you're full of like optimism, and it's almost like a pure stupidity to you. And in that, we were together in this like absolute naive kind of view of the world that we will work hard and everything will work out. And and then of course there's a sense of camaraderie because when you start your journey together, everyone who kind of came along, you want them to win. And we weren't touched, but we weren't like hanging out every day. We weren't everyday buddies. But as the years go by and as you observe, uh this co-actor of yours and their journey, every victory of theirs kind of fills your heart with joy. It's like that's a victory for me too. In a strange kind of way, there's a sense of like belonging almost. So, and I think that entire team of friendship, I think everyone kind of stayed in touch, and they're just really great people, all of them. So we on and off kept meeting and like were in touch. And I've seen Saqib go from strength to strength to strength. And what a natural actor, what a what an earnest actor, and he's really in it for the right reasons.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, it's really been enjoyable watching his journey, and also for us to kind of come back and do this together. That was like a rom-com. That was like a, sweet college romance, fun, tongue in the cheek, happy, and cut to 14 years later, and we're doing this gritty thriller. And it was also, I mean, in a way, we kind of picked up where we left off,
Mm.
but on the darker side of the moon. But yeah, and yeah, but and but it was incredible. The comfort was exactly the same. It's like nothing changed in that dynamic. In fact, we were that much more comfortable now. And so
Mm.
for us to kind of, when you start working with a new actor, you have to figure their rhythm. You have to figure their, how will it be to work with them? How will we do this? Are they a giving actor? Are they not? What am I getting into? It's absolute uncertainty. But I think with Saqib, it was instant. It was like boom, and we're in. And then it'll be cut, and it'll be ha 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 ha, laughing off into a corner. So really fun, really really fun for us.
And you know what, Sabah? I think what I've found very interesting about, the work that you've done is that there is almost this very Western feel about you. You
Right.
have a very Western feel, yes, from what I have felt. I mean, from the roles that you've played, but at the same time, when it comes to the core, it's very Indian.
Mm-hmm.
Think if we look at all the projects you've done, even though it's quite modern and very kind of contemporary, but
Mm-hmm.
on the base of it, it's quite rooted. And I think even Crime Beat sort of
Mm-hmm.
symbolize that aspect. You
Yes,
know.
sure.
So what do you think has really impacted, I think number one, this sort of really dynamic image that you've had as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and number two, how do you think that's intrinsically then translated into the sort of not just, I guess, the acting work that you do, but also then the music that you create as well?
Mm, I think for an actor, I'll start with acting. Um, the one thing that I find is, people say, okay, you must start with theater and then go into cinema, to kind of get, the exposure and really get into like under the skin of a character. But I think the most incredible tool for an actor is actually observation and life experience. It's how interested are you in life? Are you a student of life? Are you people watching? Are you putting yourself in situations that are different from the situation that you find yourself in? Because it's very easy to kind of bubble yourself in what you are, and and then try and create. But the more you absorb as an actor, the more I observe of the world, the more I put myself in situations that may not be comfortable and may be vastly different from my situation. The more I'm learning, more I'm assimilating. So, are you then climbing that local train? Are you taking a roadways bus in Haryana? Are you, doing the to and fro to college alone, where you will probably get, somebody will misbehave with you on the way? Are you collecting these life experiences? Are you taking a train across your country? Have you done that? Have you eaten in the smallest of dhabas and the fanciest of restaurants? Have you collected every experience with a hunger to say that one day this will inform my creation. This will inform my ability to perform. Um, I think that's the best and biggest tool for an actor more than anything else, and I think uh, that's what's informed my life. And I'd say my parents are really instrumental in that. From when we were kids, both my brother and I were exposed to some incredible cinema, some incredible art and theater. We were taken to, like, we weren't allowed to watch television for a while. They
Mm.
were like, get out of the house, go and play. And when it's time to absorb art, we will take you to high art. We'll take you to the Russian Center. You're going to watch some incredible films. You're going to watch world cinema. You're going to watch theater. You're going to watch Indian classical music. You're going to listen to Tchaikovsky at home. So they were really driven about informing and kind of creating this creative vocabulary for us, for both me and my brother, who's also a musician.
Mm.
And I think they were really instrumental in also kind of making us these hyper independent kids who were just like,
Mm.
okay, I'm 18, bye, I'm leaving home. So I think life experience is what creates whatever. And I can't only say I was responsible for all the life experience I got to go through my parents, my family, the family I come from, like the idea, their ideas, their, kind of ideology on life that really informed my curiosity towards life. And I
Mm.
think that has helped create whatever little bit of an identity that you might be observing. It has come from that.
Beautiful. Wow. So lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that, actually. That was good insight. But I think also it's interesting because we were talking about Mujhse Friendship Karoge and looking at Crime Beat now. I think if there's one commonality I think that had with your in because that was obviously like you said, it was like your second film. It's the role of media
Mhm.
and how that has evolved. I think Mujhse Friendship Karoge came at a time when social media was just about creeping in.
Just starting. Facebook had just started.
And it was kind of normal until, I mean, if we look back at, I mean, in today's day and age, it's a completely different monster. So I think also, because I feel like this is almost like when, like you said, you're almost living like an alternate reality when you are acting, right? And it
Mhm.
kind of then forces you that ability to kind of, you know, perhaps use whatever you're playing on screen to maybe introspect on reality. So
Mhm.
having a show like Crime Beat, how, if at all, has it kind of influenced perhaps the way we see the structures of our society, i.e., the media, the politics,
Mhm.
the the role of all of these things? Has it
Mhm.
impacted you and your mindset at all?
I mean, so I'll be honest, like the fact that the media is one of the pillars of democracy is not lost on me. It's something that I've known for a long time. And, the importance of moral responsibility and, kind of um, maintaining that your moral compass as you report only facts, as you report only the truth and not your opinion or your bias, um, is everything for how the world functions. Really, you can fell governments based on propaganda, on false news. So I really think that I was aware of how important it is, but the levels of red tape that it takes to get your news, your information, truthfully be told to the world. I had no idea the kind of, I thought it was like, oh, we found a piece of truth. We must put it immediately in the newspaper. But my God, there's so much in between all of that. Like I was saying, there's cops, there's the stringer, there's reporters, there's cops, there's your bosses. There are 10 people in your office vying for the same story with different angles, you know. And then there's some politician who's invested who's like, oh, no, 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 someone's son, blah, 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 needs protection. So there's so much, it takes so much for news to get out there
Hmm.
and get out there truthfully. Um, so I mean that was a bit of I mean I always knew it was hard, and the freedom of speech is getting harder with every passing day. So but I think that kind of reinstated what I was what I thought about media and the news, and but also that how much it matters that the media be without bias,
Hmm.
and how very important that is. So yeah, it's no jokes. I mean, you can't. And the world we live in is media is owned by the corporates. Media is owned by people who have money, who can bend policy to suit themselves, who can get loans sanctioned and debts removed as people starve, farmers starve, students are buried under loans. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So I mean, it's a whole drill of it. Media is at the epicenter of it. And I
Hmm.
think it's just that kind of solidified my understanding of it, just watching the dance of this whole thing.
Yeah, beautifully. Again, I couldn't agree more, honestly. And I think what you said is so, so true. But I think, when it comes to the role of media, I think quite literally for entertainment, it's been really really fantastic because I think for you, some of your most notable works has actually come on OTT. And
Yes.
talking about voices, and I feel like OTT has been such a great platform. I mean, like ZEE5, I mean, it's had some great diverse voices on there. And I think for actors like you, it's been a big homecoming of sorts.
Yes.
I think Sabah, a bit of a hypothetical question, really, um, and I think also, in a way, kind of looking at mainstream in a very different way as well. Had this OTT boom not have happened,
Mhm.
and some of the titles you got, including Crime Beat, how do you think things would have been different for you as an actor? And do you now feel a bit more confident in actually getting your voice as an artist now heard and accepted by the mainstream and by the masses as well?
Hmm. So I mean, I like you said, I love that you use the word homecoming, because for so many actors, there was that 0.1 percentile that was constantly employed, the mainstream commercial actors. And then there's the junior artists who are unionized and are often employed as well. It's us middle rungers, So many of us who are character actors, so many of us who are theater actors, talented people. Like, I mean, we're talking about some genius level people, who've gone to like the Film Institute, who've gone to NID. There was like a whole pocket of people where there wasn't enough cinema employing their ability to act. And OTT literally opened up the floodgates for these incredible actors. Um, and I think I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about so many other people. I'm just saying that myself included in that gave me opportunity as well. But like so many people who deserved so much more, really OTT opened that up for them. Storytelling became different because of OTT. It stopped following that formula. The idea of the formula kind of fell on its own head because it was like, hey, the story's already bought, they've already made their money.
Mm.
So there's no, now you don't have to worry about box office. Uski baat chhod dete hain. Ab kahani is king, the story is the king. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about the actors. Let's talk about all the amazing people who've been given this opportunity. It's filled a void, which is clearly was a gaping hole, and so many people are gainfully employed, and we are so much as richer as an industry for it. The stories we're telling now are going to the Emmys, they're going to the Oscars, and it's also lent itself beautifully to cinema because cinema has gotten emboldened. It's like,
Mm.
okay, so our audiences are taking these stories up, they're picking it up, they want to watch them. They don't just want to watch mindless cinema, a mind-numbing commercial cinema. They also want to watch intelligent cinema that makes them apply themselves and makes them think when they go back home. They want a social commentary. Um, so I think it's opened up so many avenues for so many different artists, writers, directors, um, DOPs, actors, of course. And I'm really thankful for this. And like you said, so much of my work has come on OTT as well. In fact, one of my first works that actually got recognized was also before the OTT boom, but on YouTube, which was
Mm.
Ladies Room,
Yeah.
which is again like, online really opened the world up for us, and really, really thankful for it.
No, amazing. And obviously it's you definitely are challenging yourself because you not only have you played a very bona fide role in Crime Beat on Z5 Global, but also in Minimum where you've played a French as well, and you're literally speaking in an accent and not a single word of Hindi is uttered in that role. So I mean,
Yes.
it's incredible. I mean, I was quite blown away by that performance,
Oh,
honestly.
thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot to me. We're trying to release that film here as well, and hopefully we'll find an OTT for India. But Channel 4 has it there, and we're just really thankful for that.
Lovely. Right. On a quick final note, because I know I need to wrap up.
Yes.
But obviously now that you've done Crime Beat, which again is a very new world to you, it's exposed you to so many different aspects and strands. What do you think will push your boundaries further now going forward?
You know, I'd love to do something that is completely separate from my social milieu, you know? I'd really like to do something more regional. I speak a bunch of regional languages actually.
Oh, do
Um,
you?
yeah, I speak Bengali, I speak Punjabi, and I really would love to do some regional cinema. I'd love to do some cinema in Kerala. I find that Indian regional cinema is really, really doing very well, and I really want to be able to play characters that are not city bred, kids, because it's again, I'm at the mercy of someone else's imagination, to be able to think of me as something like that. But I really hope at some point that I can sink my teeth into something less city brat.
No, I think you definitely will. But look, Sabah, I think that's going to definitely be another wonderful conversation for us to have. I think
Yeah,
another time.
yes,
It's
I like that.
It's been so wonderful to actually get to know your insights and to speak to you. And I'm so grateful to Z5 for making this happen. And they see crime, they see beat. I was remembering that song. Crime Beat is definitely a very wonderful series that I think people will definitely be engaged by. So thank you so much, Sabah, for joining me and
Thank
wish
you.
you the very best.
Thank you so much, and lovely talking to you. See you around. Bye. Bye.
Bye.